Okay guys, so let us take a start with the second part of your course, which is CNC technology, computerized numeric control technology. So I will be following the book, 5th edition, Michael P. Groover, Automation, Production Systems and Computer Integrated Manufacturing, only chapter number 7, which is Computer Numeric Control. If you guys want, I will share the chapter with you guys, okay? If some of you do not have access to this book, then perhaps I can share the chapter with you guys as well for more enhanced learning, okay? So what we are going to learn in today's lecture is fundamentals of the NC or numeric control technology, computer and numeric control, applications of NC technology, analysis of positioning system, how do we position the systems in this CNC technology, then CNC machine interface, how does the machine looks like. Then we are going to perform NC, G and encoding ourselves. So we will be learning in this course how to perform manual part programming, or manually how to do or carry on G and M codes to write a program and to basically carry out the machining process. And then last but not least, what are the current trends and developments for CNC system. It's obvious that there are so many topics that I might not be able to cover today. However, I will cover the remaining topics tomorrow. So let's move on to the history of CNC technology. Okay, so initially it was initiated by the MIT for the United States Air Force. Okay, they developed this numerical control machines in 1949 to demonstrate their advanced manufacturing technologies. Then later on, this NC technology was converted into computerized numeric control, or CNC, computer numeric control technology. And then today what we have is advanced version of CNC technologies, where each machine, CNC machine, can be seen in even small workshops as well, and using the current microcontrollers like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, even you guys can create a mini project to create a mini or a prototype CNC lathe, CNC turning, CNC drilling machine. So now with the advancement of technology, and with the reduction in microcontroller, and with the ease of accessibility of these electronic components, it is now easy to fabricate, develop these devices ourselves. So currently today we are using IoT, Internet of Things, and IR 4.0 technology, and we are integrating CNC technology with those new latest computer technologies to create a very efficient system, a very efficient advanced manufacturing system. So what is basically a CNC system, or numerical control system, NC? It is basically a programmable automation in which the processing equipment is controlled by some codes or by some instructions. So the basic thing is we have to supply some codes, okay, and those codes are basically translated into the machine by its processing unit, and then the machine basically carries out or performs the duties based on those codes or those part programs. So the most important function of NC system is positioning of the tool, then translating it into the machine language, and then the machine interpreting the machine language and carrying out the duties and tasks. So there are various operations that we can perform. The one which we use are conventionally are milling, turning, drilling, grinding machines. But then we can integrate numerical control into these conventional machines. So when we integrate numerical control into these machines, then they become numerical control milling machine, numerical control turning machine, etc. So all of these machines can be integrated with the help of control systems and then we can convert conventional manufacturing machines into advanced numeric control manufacturing machines. So what are the three basic components of NC system? Number one, as I said, is the program. Number two is the machine control unit, which controls the process. and number 3 is the machine tool or the machine itself. These are all combined in a single unit or in a single form, and then what we get is a CNC machine or NC machine. So here are some of the visible components that you see in your daily life, in daily workshops. Initially, when we were in the 1950s, we used to use some types of tapes, and those tapes are basically fed into this input device, and then the machine used to read those tapes using some decoders and encoders, and then they were basically transferred to the machine itself. So usually we have got the program, then the machine control unit, and the machine itself or the machine tool itself. So what are the program of instructions for this NC system? Program of instructions mean that we are going to give as okay, somebody is entered. Okay, so program of instructions mean, obviously it's very common. It's a common sense that we are going to give some instruction, we are going to put some input which can be recognized by the CNC software or NC software. Then the controller unit. Controller unit consists of electronics and hardware that read the program, and then further they convert it into mechanical action for the machine tool. These are very simple things. And then the machine tool itself, it can be milling machine, turning machine, even grinding machine, etc. It can have different axes. So nowadays the modern CNC machines are multi-axis. So this is one axis, then this is two axis, this is three axis. And if we only say that this is translation, then we say it is a 3 degree of freedom machine. Okay, it could be X, Y, and Z. But nowadays we have rotational degree of freedom as well coming in for different machines, and this increases the degree of freedom. And when degree of freedom increases, then the part complexity also can increase. Furthermore, dimensional or accuracy will increase as well. So the more powerful we are in terms of the degree of freedom, the more complex shapes and complex products can be made with the help of the NC technology. Now this is very important, NC coordinate system. So basically we have got two coordinate systems. One is flat coordinate system or prismatic coordinate system for flat parts, and one is for rotational parts. So basically this translates to milling machine and turning machine. When we talk about milling machine, as you guys know, we have got a work table. Okay, we have got this product for which I have to carry out the milling process. Okay, so what usually happen is that we have got the tool. Okay, it has got multiple point edges, and then we need to basically translate the work table. Okay, this is one kind of system which is called flat, or which is used for flat or prismatic parts, as shown in point number 1. Okay, if I move forward, you will see that we have got a table. Okay, that table can move in X, Y directions and Z directions. Furthermore, we can have rotational directions as well, such as A, B, and C within the same system as well. Okay, usually this is used in milling or high degree of freedom milling or CNC millings. So the rotational axis, basically the B, C, and A, it is not seen, A, is used for orientation of the work part to present different surface for machining, and for the orientation of tool or work head. So basically with this 3 translation and 3 rotation, I can basically create turbine blades which have very different type of complex shape, having dovetail joint, etc. So with very good tolerance and accuracy, we can create turbine blades, and those which require very great degree of accuracy. They have got great amount of curves, very complex curves are involved, are basically involved. So complex curves can be, there is one thing called simple line, okay. Then we have got simple curve, then we have got parabolic curve, okay. Then we have got a spline curve, okay. So in order to create these types of curves, these types of shapes, we need to perform interpolation, that we will talk about later on. But in short, the 3 translation axes and 3 rotational axes help us obtain turbine blades and shapes that are very, very complex. So the more we have the translation and rotational systems, the more easier it is for us to create these parts. However, the more is the degree of freedom increases, then the price of CNC system shoots up exponentially also. Like COVID cases shoots like an exponential increase, so similarly the price also increases, okay. So that is also something that we need to think whenever we are buying a machine. Then we need to think how much is our requirement, how much complex shapes are we going to create, and only then based on that system we need to buy the machine based on how many degree of freedoms do we need. So this was all about flat and prismatic parts. Let's move to rotational parts, those parts which are round, which are tubular, okay. What about those systems? How do we define the coordinate system for these types of parts? So for these types of parts which are used in CNC lathes or NC lathe machine, you guys already know that lathe machine is a machine which is more primarily used to create tubular parts or circular parts, okay. So in this types of machines, we have got the XZ plane, okay. Here we have got the XZ plane. So I will say that this is my Z and X plane, okay. And then we have where the x-axis is the radial location of the tool and z-axis is parallel to the axis of rotation of the part. So okay, so I think I have made a mistake here, okay. Mistakes happen. So they are saying that z-axis is parallel, okay, z-axis is parallel and x-axis is where the x plus and x minus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce my tool, okay, in this direction, and then the machining process is carried out. So this is another type of coordinate system for rotational parts. So we have got 2 types of coordinate system, one for prismatic parts and one for rotational parts. Now let's move on to motion control system. As I said earlier, the first thing is part program, right? So we have got in CNC system part program. This part program is fed into machine control unit, and this is basically given to the machine tool, okay. Now the part program can give 2 types of instructions, okay. for motion control. For motion control, okay, the part program can give two types of instructions. Number one, either it is point to point, P to P, or it is continuous. Both have their own advantages and disadvantages as well. Both have their own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, both have their own applications actually, if to be correct, it's both have their own applications. So let's see what is the application of point-to-point system. Okay, when we talk about point-to-point system, the objective of the machine tool is to control the system, is to move the cutting tool to the predefined location. So let's say I have got this drilling machine. Okay, this is the drill bit, this is the drill tool, sorry, and this is my part. Okay, this is my part, and this is the drilling tool, and this drilling tool is connected to a CNC system. Now what is going to happen is that in point-to-point system, I basically rapidly move my tool. I rapidly move my tool from one point to another point without doing any machining. I'm not doing any machining. I'm just moving my tool from this point to another predefined location, and once I quickly reach this location, then only I will start the drilling process. Okay, so once again I will repeat that in drilling operation, for example, I have got this tool. I am going to give instruction to the CNC program, move quickly to this point. So it will move quickly to this point. Then I will give the instruction to go down and start drilling, then go up and stop drilling, then move to another location quickly, then go down, start drilling, and then go up, stop drilling. So this is called point-to-point system, in which you reach a point quickly and then you start the machining process. So NC drilling system, numeric control drilling system, is basically a perfect example of this point-to-point system. Now let's take a look at what is continuous system or why do we need it. Okay, in continuous system, the moment I start my tool path, the moment my tool is going to move, it will start the machining process instantly. Okay, so let's say if my tool is automatically touching this workpiece, then the moment it is moving, it is following the path. This is called contour machining. So it is following the path that it wants to machine, and it will follow and start removing the material. So it will move and remove the material. It will not jump and then start machining. No, it will immediately start continuously machine the surface or the periphery. This part is periphery, this part is surface, top surface, this part is periphery. So periphery is there are different types of machining. One is called peripheral machining, then one is called face milling or face machining. So whatever is the case, the machining starts immediately. Okay, now as you can see that in continuous part system, the complex shape such as that of this phone is basically can be obtained, and we can do machining of complex shapes, complex contours, complex curves. Okay, this is a three-dimensional curve. Okay, it's not just a single curve, it is curve in both ends or in both directions. So this is basically the main difference between P2P and continuous machining system or coordinate system, control system, sorry, motion control system. Now that I know that I have to do machining either point to point or continuous, then what are the different types of continuous types of machining? Okay, whether is it straight line? Now if you see this corner, this is straight line. So in order to carry out machining, we have to perform interpolations. Okay, because a machine can never do exact curve. Okay, if you are going to zoom out or zoom in actually, then you will see that this curve is basically a series of polygons or series of straight lines, but they are so small and so they are so minute that when you look through your naked eye, or when you feel them as well, it becomes almost instant curve. It looks like that. Okay. However, interpolation has to be carried out in order to generate a curve or in order to carry out machining process. The simplest type of interpolation is linear interpolation, where you move from one point to another point in a straight line. So when you move in a straight line, then this is linear interpolation. However, to carry out or to basically perform to machine circular parts, we need to carry out three different types. One is circular, one is helical, and one is parabolic or cubic interpolations. So circular interpolation is basically defined by a radius and a center point. So I have got this center point. I have this radius r, okay, and within the limits of radius, okay, using the same radius, I will carry out my machining. So this is called circular interpolation. If I go linear from one point to another point, this is called linear interpolation. Okay, then we move on to the more complex polygons and polynomials, hyperbola, etc. So these are other interpolations, but in this course we are going to be working only on linear and circular interpolation, because we have the G codes and M codes for these types of interpolations. So we will be basically working out with only linear interpolation and circular interpolation in our current course. Okay, let's move forward. So just now we learned machine control system, if I remember correctly. Yes, motion control system. Okay, in motion control system we had point to point and continuous motion control system. Okay, let me write that. We have motion control system, and in which we have two of them, point to point and continuous. Continuous part system. So I can say this is point, 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 and this one is fully continuous. It is a straight or could be a curve. So this is a motion control system. Now we move on to positioning systems. Number 2, positioning system. So there are two types of positioning systems. Number 1 is absolute and number 2 is incremental. Okay, so one is absolute and another one is incremental positioning system. So what is the difference between them? Okay, So let me draw one of my machining part. Okay, let's say that I want to write E letter using CNC system. Okay, the first and foremost thing is to define the origin. Okay, so origin is 0 comma 0. This is x-axis, this is y-axis. Okay, this is 10, this is 20, this is 30, this is 10, this is 20. Okay, now when we talk about absolute system, okay, we always move from origin. Remember that. When we talk about absolute system, we always we always move from origin. So let's say I have point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and let's say I want to tell machine to go to point 1. Okay, so when I tell machine to go to point 1, then I will give the coordinates. X is 20, y is 10. Okay, then when I'm going to tell the coordinate machine to go to point 2, I will give the coordinates relative to origin. Remember that. So for point number 2, the coordinate is 10x and 10y. This is the case of absolute with respect to origin. So absolute is always with respect to origin. So this is one type of positioning system. So now you guys will have the question, what is incremental positioning system? Okay, so if I want my tool, so let's say this is my tool. Okay, this is a very funny tool. So this tool needs to move to point 1 and then it needs to move to point 2 in the incremental positioning system. Then what will happen is that the origin shifts in incremental system. Okay, so let's say that first my tool is going to move to point 1. So for point 1 my system is, what is the coordinate? 20 comma 10. 20 comma 10. Now my tool wants to move to point 2. So my tool wants to move to point 2. Okay, when my tool wants to move to point 2, it is going to move with reference to point 1. So the origin for my tool becomes point number 1. So this becomes my origin, point number 1, and with reference to point number 1, I will move to point number 2. Okay, so in this case, the coordinates of the point number 2 will be, I will tell the machine to go 20 minus, so it will be 10 minus 10 comma 0. Okay, because with reference to origin there is no change in y-axis, so it is 10, is previously it was 10, so now no need to move or change the y-axis, and x-axis need to move back. How much need to move back? Minus 10. This distance is 10. Okay, so this is called incremental positioning system. Your origin moves from point 1 to point 2 to point 3 to point 4, etc. So for drilling operations, when you are moving quickly Let's say you have got a plate. In this plate you need to drill holes. Okay, then you will tell your tool to go quickly to this point from origin. Okay, then you will tell the tool to move quickly to this point from origin, and then you will tell to move quickly to this tool based on the origin which you have selected. So absolute positioning system is very good for drilling operations. So for drilling operations, absolute system is good. But for milling operations, let's say this is my plate and I want to mill the periphery or the outer surface. So I want to basically mill the periphery. Then what I will say is I will use the incremental positioning system, where I will first start from here, then I will give the coordinates, okay, go in this direction only, then I will give the coordinates go in this direction with reference to the previous point, then I will give the coordinates go to this direction with reference to the previous point. So incremental positioning system is helpful and it is good for milling operations. So that is why we have different G coding for these types of positioning systems. As you can see in the slide, we have got this coordinate system. Okay, let me open the pointer. So in this coordinate system, we have got G90 code and G91 code. G90, G91. So when we are going to create a NC part programming, then we are going to specify the code, and if I am going to do drilling, then perhaps I will be using programming in absolute coordinates. So I will give the machine the instructions that whenever I am going to put any coordinates, it will be based on absolute coordinates. And if I'm going to use G91 codes, then it means that it will be based on incremental coordinate system. You can use both of them also, it's not a problem. However, in general, for drilling, absolute is easier, and for milling, incremental is easier. Why there is a need for NC system, and in the first case, and then what are the advantages? So obviously, as you guys know, that we have entered into a manufacturing intensive industrial era or industrial technological era. So we need to automate and we need to push systems to produce and manufacture parts at a very high and rapidly increasing capacity. That is why we have multiple NC, or not only NC but CNC systems, to increase the production rates, to decrease the amount of manual labor, and to make the process more efficient and less error prone. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why the world have already adopted NC systems or CNC system, and now we are moving towards IR 4.0 based sensor based technology or sensor based CNC systems, where what happens is that we have got an NC system, CNC system, okay, we have got our product or a part, okay, and we have got some sensors. These sensors, such as I can say surface analyzers, very simple, using simple cameras, okay, then we can have what you call piezoelectric sensors. We have thermal cameras. We have high frame rate, slow motion cameras. These are IR 4.0 or sensor based systems that we are currently putting in our manufacturing system. So now the current research in universities, the PhD that you guys are going to do is based on the fact that there will be some sensor that will be attached, and that sensor will give feedback so that the system corrects itself automatically. System makes correction automatically to maintain the quality X, Y, and Z. Okay, so now the challenge for Malaysia, the challenge globally is to put as much sensors as you can so that we get a pool of data, and that data is instantaneously analyzed and it is then fed back to the computer which is attached to the machine, and that computer is going to perform artificial intelligence operations to regulate the machining or to regulate the manufacturing process. So now you guys perhaps might already have been seeing these systems coming to Malaysia and global manufacturing industries. Sorry. Okay. So these are the disadvantages, but these disadvantages are now no more applicable because these are our requirements. Whether we like it or we don't like it, we need vaccination. Whether we like it or whether we don't like it, we need to get CNC system for manufacturing industry to operate. So this is the backbone of industry, and we need it. Whether it is expensive or not expensive, it is not a part of our problem. Yeah, if we can manufacture it locally, if we have the technology, then perhaps we can reduce the cost. So applications of numerical control are in drilling, milling, turning, and other metalworking applications. They are also used in assembly, drafting, and reverse engineering with the help of inspection as well. So let's say I want to do a reverse engineering of my phone. Then what I am going to do is I will attach a camera or a laser scanner to a CNC system, and that system will basically scan and cover all the areas. So it is used in inspection and rapid prototyping as well. CNC system has entered additive manufacturing. In additive manufacturing, as you guys know already, we create our part automatically by layer deposition. We 3D print parts. So those additive manufacturing technologies like 3D printing or laser sintering, okay, or dialect laser sintering are basically based on NC or CNC system as well. So if you want to do 3D printing, sometimes you need to use GNM codes as well. So it depends. The applications of NC are numerous. So let's take a look at how does a machine looks like when you're going to approach a machine. Then what are the first things that you're going to see or observe on a CNC machine? So the number one thing is or the interface that you're going to observe for these kind of CNC or NC machines are that you will have the operational interface where you can carry out the operations. You've got a status display area, you've got data input area, you've got MPG handling area, and you've got machine operations area. Usually nowadays you feed the NC or CNC with the help of USB or with the help of old disk drive. You put the program inside and then you run automatically. However, if you talk about small workshops where they have to create custom parts, then only they use this area for doing the coding directly on the machine. So if you see, we have got a status display area. Okay, this is called graphic user interface. This is nothing complex. Okay, it will show you the coordinates and it will show you the cooling system parameters. It will show you the current machine operating condition, etc. So these are something which we observe daily in our CNC systems. Then we have got data input area. Okay, we have got MPG handling area. So this area basically consists of 3 parts for user to move each servo axis manually. Manual pulse generator is basically that you can basically move the machine manually within certain steps, or in slow or lesser amount of steps. So if you want to do manual override, then you can use this area. You can do emergency stop in this area. This area is basically for manual control. Furthermore, you've got feed ratio selection key, emergency stop button, chuck clamp and unclamp key, etc. Then you've got a machine operations area where you can have many kind of switches such as lamp, mode selection, rapid override, feed override. So you can increase the feed to finish the machining operation very quickly, something like that. Just a second. Yeah, data input area. Okay. So this was all about the interface of the machine. Next we move on to NC part programming. So now is the time that we start to learn about the programming and the basics of programming. But before we start, we need to see and understand that what are the different types of programming that we can carry or we can give to a CNC machine. An NC or a CNC machine can be fed with a manual program that you guys can write manually. It can have a computer aided or computer assisted part programming, where you will not use the G and M code, but you're going to use an easier instructional language so that the computer can understand it more easily. Then you have CAD CAM part programming. Nowadays the latest softwares such as Mastercam, such as SolidWorks. In SolidWorks you have got SolidCam. These are the softwares which directly convert the CAD model into a CAM model, and it will simulate the machining operation directly. So I guess you guys know about this already for those who are working in machining industries. And sometimes for very small workshops, for very small scale industry, manual data input is also carried out. So when we talk about CNC or NC programming, okay, we talk about block. Okay, so in order to create a program, we have got this machine interface, and we have to give sets of instruction 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have to give them sets of instruction N01, 02, N03 and 04. In CNC or NC programming, we have N as a number which tell us the line number or the instruction number. So N defines the instruction. So what happens is that you are going to write words in the form of blocks. So G01, this is a block. M03, this is a block. Okay, so in these kind of programming, you have got an alphanumeric alphabet, and then you've got a numeric. So this is a combination by which we carry out G and M coding. So for NC systems, we carried out manual programming, and manual programming is done by G and M codes. Okay. So what are the types of words which are used for CNC programming? Let's take a look at that. Okay, so when we talk about CNC part programming, okay, then we have got different types of suffixes. So N stands for the line number, okay, N1, N2, N3, N4. G stands for preparatory word that we will learn about later. Then we have got X, Y, and Z axis. Okay, you guys have learned about this, the positioning system, Cartesian positioning system, either it is incremental or absolute. Then we need to specify the feet. So if the tool is moving, okay, this is a tool, then this, how much is the rotation, is called spindle speed. The rotation is spindle speed, and during the cutting process, how much or how fast it moves during the cutting process is called feed. How much the tool is being fed into the workpiece. Then we have got tool selection. So this is denoted by T, feed is denoted by F, spindle speed is denoted by S. Okay, and then we have got miscellaneous command denoted by M. So we have got G code, M code, we have got N, we have got XYZ, we have got F, we have got T, we have got S. So we have got a variety of commands that we need to enter in order to create a program, and with the help of that program we can create a part or machine a part. Okay. So how does the word address looks like? How does the instruction looks like? It looks like this. You've got N001. N means the number, okay, the line number. So we have got N001. Then this is followed by G00. G is basically an preparatory command. So before doing something we prepare, right? So G is a preparatory command. Then X and Y is a command for position. So after we have prepared, we need to go somewhere, so we position ourselves at that place. And then we have got M03. Maybe it says that M03 means you need to start the spindle or you need to start the tool, etc. So these are word address format which are used in CNC programming. So as you can see in the figure, the N001 is for this hole and N002 is for the second hole, the instruction. Now what are the difficulties or what are the issues in manual part programming? There are some issues, okay. Doing basically a lot of complex shape can be very difficult, okay. We can usually perform simple shapes or not very complex shapes, I would say. That is why manual part programming is now being replaced by computerized as computer assisted part programming. We have got different word address format for linear interpolation. So G01 stands for linear interpolation, G02 stands for circular, and G interpolation. So there are different types of interpolation that we will talk about later on. Now is not the time to talk about. Then we've got cutter offset. This is also something that I will talk about later. So when we talk about computer assisted part programming, obviously the name suggests that computer is going to assist in the programming. So basically we have got different types of files which computer is going to generate. CL file, CL data file, post processing files, which is the MCU file. So this is a machine control unit. Basically these are the assisted files which are generated by computer when the part programming is created automatically with the help of computer. So this is just for information, no need to go into the details of computer tasks. Yeah. So as we said that manual programming is time consuming, okay, and it is very tedious and it is subjected to human errors for complex job. So that is why machining instructions are written in English-like statements that are translated by computer into a low-level machine code of the machine control unit. That is called automatically programmed tool, APT. So that language is called APT language. Okay, so this is basically a tool with the help of which it is easier for me to give instructions to a computer. So the various tasks in computer assisted part programming are divided between the human part programmer and the computer. So this is quite a boring part. I guess we should jump to programming straight away. So computer assisted part programming have got their own sequences. We define the part geometry in the CAD model, then we define the tool path, then we specify the other functions such as speeds and feed. Yeah, this is something that we will look now in the next slides. So first is define part geometry, or we have to create a CAD model. Then we need to define the tools. So number one is the geometry, CAD geometry. Then number two is the tool. Number three is the speed of the tool, spindle speed, feed rate. Number four is, then this is converted by computer. So these things, and CAD is basically computer assisted programming is used. Okay, and then simulation is carried out, or direct machining is carried out. We can do machining and we can do simulation. I will show you the examples how. So this is the example how it is done. Okay. So as an example, today I am going to show you SolidWorks software, and with the help of this software there is basically a module called SolidCAM. So SolidWorks is basically a complete package, a complete manufacturing package which consists of computer aided design, computer integrated manufacturing, computer aided manufacturing, okay, computer integrated, computer aided manufacturing, computer aided design, everything is included. Okay, so in this SolidWorks, with the help of SolidCAM, I will show you how the CAD model is translated into the final simulation or final machining operation. So in SolidWorks, you guys can, it's a very easy software, not very difficult. In SolidWorks, you guys can create a 3D model. This 3D model is called Computer Aided Design Model, or CAD model. Okay, so let's say in this example you can see that the person has created a solid rectangular bar, and in this solid rectangular bar he has written AMU. He has basically defined some carried out some removal of material. Okay, he has created a part in which we need to remove the material AMU. So this is the CAD modeling. After CAD modeling, what was the step? After CAD modeling, we need to identify the operations such as cutting tool, define tool path, and do the simulation. And then at the end of the system, post processing is carried out, convert the CAM part to GNM code. So CAD model, okay, CAD model which is in our brain is basically simulated by the software. In the software, we need to put the tool path, we need to define the spindle speed, the feed rate. After this is carried out, we will do the simulation of the tool path. After the simulation of the tool path, we will generate the G and M code directly. So no need to write G and M code separately. The SolidWorks software is going to generate the G and M code automatically. I will show you how. So after we do the CAD part, okay, this is the CAD modeling. You can see we are in the CAD region. Let me increase this as well. Okay, so we are here in the CAD features or CAD tab. Now after doing the CAD, we are going to jump to SolidCAM, this region. Okay, after modeling we shift to SolidCAM. In SolidCAM, as I said earlier, we have to define the position, or we have to define the coordinates. Okay, so we will define the coordinates. So here you can see that the person has defined the coordinate system so that the tool can move in relation to or relative to the coordinates which have been defined. Okay, then the CAD integrated with CAM software, meaning to say the CAM software is going to create a tool path. Okay, that we will see how. So before creation of tool path, we have to input the tools and what are the tools that we are going to use. Okay, so here if you see in this SolidCAM, we have got the tool data which is being entered. Then this person is putting the machining parts, what kind of surface are required to be machined. So we have to machine the outer periphery and we have to machine the inside AMU. Okay, so our tools should be such that it can machine the outer region plus it can machine the inner region. So now we need to specify the machining operations. So here you can see we have got operations. In operations we add milling operation. In milling operation he is selecting pocket operation. Pocket operation means that he is going to do contouring or face milling or end milling. So in this case it is face milling for the top side. Then it is telling the location for machining. So he is highlighting that this area should be machined. Okay, so this is the yellow region he wants to machine. Okay, and you can see the name is contour. Then specify tool data, what kind of tool you are going to use. So you can see end mill, nose mill, ball nose mill, face mill. These are the different types of cutters. So he is using end milling, and in end milling he is putting the tool parameters, the diameter, the arbor diameter, this is the arbor diameter, the total length of the tool, the outside holder OHL, shoulder length, then he has also put clearance of the tool as well. Then he has to specify how much should be the depth. So initially it was 11, then he reduced it, so the amount of depth it will go down has increased. After specifying the tool, you can see that the tool has emerged. You can see now that the tool is come out. Now this tool is going to carry out the machining operation. I think this is a video, so let me see. Yeah, this is the tool. Now what he is going to do is he is going to simulate the tool onto this specimen or on this machining specimen. So this is tool simulation. So after doing the tool simulation, he is going to perform machining simulation. So I think he went to machine simulation here. He will go here in the machine simulation and he will see exact machining that will happen. And this can be simulated with the help of modern softwares such as SolidWorks. So he is going to go to machine, and now the software is going to render actual machining, and Now actual machining will occur. So here you can see actual machining occurring. After he is happy with the actual machining and he is happy with the parts that he has made, now he is going to automatically generate the GNM code. Okay, so let's move next slide. And now we have the generation of G code automatically. So you can see and observe how he is going to create G code automatically. Generate G code. Here we go. So this is around how many lines is this? Around 1000 lines code has been created. Okay, so this is how modern softwares are now creating automatic programs or automatic coding. Just a second. Okay guys, so now we are going to move to programming.